Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Grilling JR. Notice me without Conrad this morning. Conrad's modem went out, so he's having computer issues. So what we're going to do today is play two of our classic studio sessions. The studio sessions is another name for our Wrestling with Jim Ross WSB radio show. WSB AM 750 out of Atlanta. I was doing some football for them for the Falcons, and I had the idea to do a talk show on the wasteland of Sunday night at 9 o'clock, and it worked out real well. We got lots of calls, and as you'll see, many of the calls you'll experience here today. The first show we're going to replay is the first show, and I think we had Paul Heyman as my guest. We took calls. That was quite the experience. Paul was in character. So that should be fun. And then the second show we're going to preview today is a show with Jim Cornette, which is never dull. And we also took calls. So that's what we're going to do here today in Conrad's absence. He'll have his computer issues addressed and solved by next week. We'll be back on our regular schedule. So appreciate you tuning in for that. Don't forget the pay-per-view is this weekend in Long Island. Big show. Some really intriguing matches for me. MJF and Samoa Joe's been building nicely for quite some time. This Devil storyline is still open-ended. I don't have any idea where that's headed, which is good. Don't have a clue. I'll be surprised like you guys. So anyway, that's what we're going to do today on the show. And the pay-per-view is Saturday, and the 30th in Long Island. As I said, that's MJF's home territory, so he's got a big challenge ahead of him. He'll be the fan favorite, one would assume, in his home area. Samoa Joe, the bully, powerhouse talent. It should be a great match. I'm interested to see how it's laid out. I'm interested to see how the strategy unfolds by both guys as they tell their story. And I think it'll be a very compelling story. Certainly worth, that match alone is worth the pay-per-view, in my opinion. Of course, I'm biased. And also Adam Copeland and Christian Cage will have a one-on-one match. I can't think of nothing short of spectacular for that match. It should be just outstanding. The ladies aren't forgotten. Julia Hart will defend the title against Abaddon. A big break for Abaddon. She finally gets her shot at some recognition and see how she performs under the bright lights. So that should be fun. And what else do we have on that card? It's loaded. I know that it's loaded. Julia's going to take on Rio for the title, and that should be interesting. So all is good in the AEW world. The TV shows have been good. I've enjoyed the tournament. I like tournaments though, so count me in that favor. I like the tournaments. We're coming down to the nut cutting time, nitty gritty for the tournament. It's been very entertaining, very physical. That's one thing about these AEW guys. They don't mind bringing the physicality, and especially on pay-per-view. So that's why I'm so excited about the chance of you guys watching on this weekend on pay-per-view. So it should be fun. Business at the barbecue stand is still doing good. jrsbbq.com is where you can go. We're open all the time, still shipping out things every day. So there you see some of the products on the screen that we have available. The seasoning has edged into the number one spot in a neck and neck race with the mustard. I use the mustard a lot because it has 1 gram of sugar. Of course, with my sugar issues, I got to be careful what I eat, and I am. I've tried to eliminate as much sugar as I can. Gosh, I had a slice of bread in 2 months, or a drink of whiskey, or Crown Royal, and maybe longer than that. So, but I'm feeling great. I really am. I'm feeling great, and I'll feel even better if you make yourself a nice little order of this barbecue sauce and ketchup, mustard. The hot sauce is doing good. So we're blessed. And thanks to you guys for supporting our efforts. So Conrad back next week. Big weekend here for all of us. The pay-per-view. I'm going to be watching the pay-per-view from here in Jacksonville, where I am right now, and I'm going to be watching a lot of football as well around the pay-per-view. So big weekend for AEW. Big weekend for you, hopefully, as well. But we appreciate you tuning in. Sorry for the interruption in service, as they say, but it was beyond Conrad's control, and he'll have it taken care of by next week. So that kind of gets us the table set for today. Again, the first show from the WSB studios is with who did I say? Oh, yeah, Paul Heyman. How could you forget that, right? And then following that, we'll have the episode with Jim Cornette. So I think you'll have fun going back in time. They both stayed in character. Again, understanding the time in the 80s, this early 90s, it was a unique, different time as it kept changing like the business does. So, but I encourage that. I encourage change. Change for change's sake isn't good, but change for the better is always good. So enjoy the shows today. Have a good week. Have a good weekend. Hope you had a great holiday. I sure did. I was in Oklahoma with my family. I loved it. It's hard to believe these kids are growing up. I got 2 kids scheduled to go to OU now, so that's going to be interesting. Both of them want to be nurses, so they'll both go to the OU nursing school. And I'm proud of them. And old Grandpa loves them, as Grandpa should, right? So here we go. Let's kick it off. First up, never lost for words. Paul Heyman, and he was involved in a TV storyline with Missy Hyde at that time, which you'll hear talked about in Paul's own inimitable way. And then we'll close it up with Jim Cornette, who's always a great guest and always has something compelling on his mind. We may not always agree with him, but you're sure going to listen. And that's what matters. So enjoy listening, enjoy watching, and we'll see you again here next week. So thanks very much, everybody, and have fun.
Wrestling with Jim Ross on AM 750 WSB. You can talk to America's leading wrestling broadcaster and his guests. Call 872-0750 or 1-800-WSB-TALK. Now, here's Jim Ross.
Thank you very much, and hello again, everyone, and welcome to Wrestling with Jim Ross here on AM 750 WSB. It's our inaugural program. We certainly appreciate you being with us, and if you'd like to participate in the discussion this evening, please call, as you heard, 872-0750, or if you are in Atlanta, if you are outside the Atlanta area, it's 1-800-WSB-TALK. We're going to be with you each and every Sunday night here on AM 750 WSB at 9 o'clock for 1 hour to talk about the happenings in World Championship Wrestling and in the World of Professional Wrestling. My guest next week on the broadcast, I'd like to remind you, will be the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. He'll be here with us next Sunday night here on the program. And with me here this evening, my colleague on World Championship Wrestling and the Power Hour on TBS each and every weekend. He's a former manager, a very controversial individual. My guest, Paul E. Dangerously. Paul, welcome to the broadcast.
Well, welcome to my show.
No, this is my show. You got to get it right here.
Wrestling with Paul E. Dangerously on AM 750 WSB.
Well, we're starting off exactly as I thought we probably would, but I'm not going to be argumentative tonight, and Missy may just drop by, too, a little bit later on. I didn't tell you that, did I?
Huh?
Well, anyway.
That wasn't part of the deal.
Fans, we are going to be taking your calls tonight, and as a matter of fact, we're going to start right now. We're going to take a lot of calls tonight. We're going to have a trivia contest.
There's security at the door.
We're going to be giving away some trading cards from Impel Marketing. A lot of fun tonight. We're going to talk about the things going on in wrestling. And right now, let's go to line 3. Daryl in Marietta, you're on the air.
Hi, Jim. How you doing?
I'm fine, Daryl. Thanks for calling.
Well, first of all, your guest tonight, I mean, this is getting absurd, watching this week in and week out. I mean, I don't know if this is part of the show with them two arguing, but if it is, it's getting quite redundant. And I know you...
Daryl, my patients are wearing a little bit thin as well. Paul, do you have any comment for Daryl tonight?
Maybe if you think you can do a better job, you'd like to send in a tape and take my job away from me. Actually, I think if you want to add to the show, you'd take Missy Hyde's job away from her, and we'd have a much better program.
Well, that's Paul's first response. Daryl, thanks for calling. And let's go now to line one. Willie in Norcross. You're on the air with Wrestling with Jim Ross.
Hey, Jim.
How you doing, Willie?
Yes, my question is, whatever happened to James J. Dillon?
James J. Dillon is not actively managing any longer. I understand he's still in wrestling in an administrative capacity, but not with World Championship Wrestling. Thanks for calling, Willie.
All right.
Well, you know, Paul, we do have a lot of things going on. We're going to be in Birmingham tomorrow night for big national television taping of World Championship Wrestling. Our Clash of Champions broadcast in prime time on TBS comes up on Wednesday, June the 12th at 8:05 Eastern Time. It's going to be an exciting night. We're going to talk about that card a little bit because we've got some big things to talk about that. We've got a loser of the fall leaves World Championship Wrestling when Flying Brian and Elegante take on Arn Anderson and Barry Windham. We want to talk about that, but we also want to take some more calls. We're going right now to line number 2. And Tony, you're on the air.
Yeah, I'd like to know how come Sid Vicious, Mike Callis, Mark Callis, the Road Warriors, Nasty Boys, and Mike Rotunda all left the WCW and gone to the other organization.
Well, I'll tell you, Tony, there's a lot of reasons for that. The basic reason, I think sometimes competitive levels get a little bit incompatible for some individuals. They have agents nowadays, and it's hard to really say exactly why guys leave, but most of these guys have agents. Paul, do you have any comments to make about that?
Well, I can answer this on a personal note that I used to manage Mean Mark Callis, and he took on the United States heavyweight champion Lex Luger and got beat. I was a very good friend of Sid Vicious. He went against Lex Luger and Sting, and he got beat. Now I see Mean Mark is up in the WWF, and he goes against their number 2 man in the Ultimate Warrior, and he's beating him all over the place. So you tell me which place is tougher.
Let's go back to the phones. We'll go to line 5 now. Adam in Marietta, thanks for calling.
Yes, I've got 2 questions. Why at Super Bowl was the stretcher match decided by pinfall when it's supposed to be the loser's supposed to be carried out on a stretcher?
I think the basic reason for that was neither guy got in a position to be carried out on a stretcher. What's your second question?
Why was the lights out match also decided by pinfall? Because lights out matches I've seen have been decided by the guy has to get up by the 10 count, and that didn't happen.
Well, basically, Adam, what a lights out match is, it's not sanctioned by World Championship Wrestling, so that's the significance of a lights out match. So they can be won by a pinfall, they can be won by submission. So that particular match, that's how that one came about. Paul, we're going to be on TBS on Wednesday, June the 12th. We talked about this live primetime broadcast, Knoxville, USA. One of the big matchups there will be a 2 out of 3 fall event. Beautiful Bobby Eaton, the current television champion, will be taking on Nature Boy Ric Flair, the WCW World's Heavyweight Champion. I think what's really unique about this is that match will be contested with 2 out of 3 falls. What's your assessment of that, the 2 out of 3 fall stipulation?
Well, I think it's a real bad situation for Nature Boy Ric Flair because Beautiful Bobby is really on a roll, and ever since he became a singles wrestler back in October, he has not been beaten. He's now the world's TV champion, means he's the best wrestler on television, and if he can take Flair in the first fall, I think Beautiful Bobby's going to be the next heavyweight champion of the world.
All of our lines are full right now, but we are going to go to our long-distance number and our line in Philadelphia. Steve, are you on the air?
Yes.
What's your question?
My question is, why isn't the WCW recognizing the name NWA? I mean, the NWA has a lot of history behind it, and the WCW just doesn't seem to recognize it.
Well, I'll tell you something, Steve. It's not the fact that we do not recognize it. The situation was that WCW, the name has been changed. We still do recognize the former champions, the great heritage, the hard-hitting style of the National Wrestling Alliance. But the only difference is the name change. The name of World Championship Wrestling seemed to be a little bit more contemporary. We still mention NWA from time to time, but that's basically the reasoning for that. But we do appreciate you calling from Philadelphia. Paul, the name has changed, but the style of wrestling has not. I think WCW has the hardest-hitting, most competitive style in the sport, and we both watch a lot of wrestling. I know you watch everything that you're on, but you watch other stuff as well. There is a difference in what the WCW does.
Oh, of course there is. This is high-impact wrestling. wrestling, and, you know, being from New York, where violence is a way of life, I enjoy seeing hard-hitting sports. I don't like participating in them, but I enjoy watching them, and that's what WCW is all about. It's high-impact professional wrestling.
Let's go to line 4, Hot Wheels in Ackworth, Georgia. You have a question regarding Paul and Missy?
I have a few comments, basically. I'm going to try to make them quick as possible.
Okay.
I am the teenage rage, the girls from Ackworth, 16 in wrestling, after all. Number one, Jim Ross, me and some of my friends are, we love what you're doing and everything. We are starting the Radio Rowdies. My partner called earlier, Adam Fischel from over there in Marietta.
Right.
He, after all, is... Yeah, he is my friend, the Walton Raider. We think what you're doing. Paulie Dangerous. I mean, the guy makes me sick. I mean, I heard he went out on Double D with Liberace. Oh, and they didn't take either women or anything, you know. Dangerously lost. After all, you lost that mama's boy from, look, you're no class, man.
Well, thank you very much. We'll just move right on from that. We do appreciate your call anyway. Paul, I don't think that I don't think those comments deserve any edification.
I liked him. He's my kind of guy.
Oh, he sure sounds like your kind of guy. All right, let's go now to line 5. Adam is on line 5. Adam, you want to talk about the Nature Boy?
Yeah, I just got a question about, does Ric Flair have a loose sperm count?
Well, we just lost another one. There he goes. We need to, we have to keep it clean here, ladies and gentlemen. This is,
you better stop taking all these calls
from New York. Are those your buddies from New York?
Well, that was Guido, and I think that was Vinny from Brooklyn that just called. Well, thank you, Vinny. Thank you.
Karen, line 1, you're on the air with Jim Ross.
Hi.
How you doing?
Fine. I'm going to act responsibly.
Thank you, Karen.
And you can't go out on a date with me, honey.
Oh, please.
Oh, this is not the dating game. So what's your question, Karen?
Two things really quickly. First of all, when are you going to come back to Center Stage for tapings in Atlanta? I miss them so much.
I think we're back in Center Stage in September, but I'll look that up and we'll have the date for it before we go off the air, okay?
And I just want to say, Polly, I just love you so much, and I really wish that you had pulled all of Missy's hair out Sunday night at the Omni.
Hey, are you over 18?
She's already gone, Paul.
Hello? Hello? Oh, why'd you hang up on her so early?
Line 2, Rand. Your call.
Can we get her back on?
Hey, I got two things here to say. First one is, whatever happened to that guy, Miss Wonderful, Paul Orndorff?
Paul Orndorff. I think he's running his bowling alley in Fayetteville, Georgia.
Yeah, I knew he had a bowling alley, but, you know, I just don't see him no more.
Well, he still wrestles part-time and freelances around the country, but he's not with any major organization right now, Rand, but he is still in great shape, and I think he's spending most of his time in his bowling alley. Let's go to line 3. Christian, you have a comment.
Yes.
And it is?
There's a rumor going around that Sid Vicious is leaving the NWA.
Sid Vicious has left the NWA. He's no longer here.
Okay, thanks.
You're surely welcome. Thank you for calling Wrestling with Jim Ross. This is AM 750 WSB, and we'll be back with more of our program. If you'd like to participate, you can call locally 872-0750 or outside the Atlanta area. It's 1-800-WSB-TALK.
On AM 750 WSB.
And welcome back, everyone, to Wrestling with Jim Ross on AM 750 WSB. Our meteorologist, Kirk Mellis, says tonight, any thunderstorm will be ending. It's going to be humid and hazy tonight with a low of 68. Tomorrow, partly sunny and hot. High of 93, low of 72. It's 81 degrees right now in Atlanta. We're going back to the phones, and we're going to go to line number 6. And line number 6, Jason, you're on the air.
Hi, Jim. How's it going?
I'm fine, thanks. Thanks for calling.
Thank you for having my call on the air now. I got two real quick questions to ask.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, back at Wrestle War, you remember when Nikita hit Lex Luger with the U.S. title belt?
Yes, sir.
What happened to that belt?
That belt then, about a few weeks later, was banged around in a match on television on TBS, and was pretty much mutilated. I think the belt is now in Mr. Hurd's office at the CNN Center, so it's in retirement. We have a new United States title belt. What's your other question?
Are there going to be 6-man title belts made?
Yes, they have been made, and they're really nice. I've seen them, and we should be having them on TV in the next few weeks.
Okay.
So they're good-looking belts. Thanks very much for calling.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. Let's go down to line 7, and Larry There you go. Larry, you on the air?
Yeah, Jim.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to ask you, why did Ricky Morton leave ringside when he was tag teaming with Dustin Rhodes when Barry Windham came out?
Well, we have Paulie Dangerously here on Wrestling with Jim Ross tonight, and he's in the studio with me. Paul did a Danger Zone right after that. I know you had a conversation with Ricky. Paul, what's Ricky's feelings right now regarding the York Foundation?
Well, what's happened is that Ms. Alexandra York, on behalf of the York Foundation, all its executives, offered Ricky Morton a contract to wrestle for her corporation, and she had all her lawyers and all her advisors and all the senior vice presidents in the back, and Ricky Morton went to the locker room to look over the contract. It was quite simply just a business proposition.
Thank you very much for your call, Larry. We do appreciate that, and let's go down to line one. Mike, you're on the air on AM 750 with Jim Ross and Paulie Dangerously.
Hi, I got a question about Tully Blanchard. Is he still wrestling?
No, he is not, Mike. Tully Blanchard is working right now with the churches, and he's doing some minister work over in the Carolinas. So he's no longer in the wrestling business. He's made quite a change in his life there. Let's go now to line two. Doug from Smyrna, you're on the air.
Hey, Jim, how you doing?
I'm fine. Thanks for calling.
I wanted to tell you, first of all, I always followed the NWA, WCW, whatever you want to call it, and I've always thought the WWF was kind of like clown shit. But I see the WCW go into the same type thing, and as bringing Big Josh in, who everybody knows is Maniac Matt Bourne. Why do they do that?
Well, I'll tell you something. When you look at a television program and you try to have something for everyone, you certainly want to, you've got to have a little bit for everybody. And as far as Matt Bourne now being Big Josh, sometimes in a guy's career, when he thinks his career may not be going the direction he chooses, sometimes he likes to change his name and change his personality a little bit, change his style, and hopefully it'll be for the best for Big Josh. But I don't think you're ever going to see WCW going in the direction that the WWF is going in. We're going to go back to the phones right now. We're going to go to Mike in Lawrenceville. Hi, Mike.
Good evening.
How are you doing?
Pretty good. I've followed the WCW for quite some time now, and I have two quick questions for you.
Okay.
First, do you know what wrestler has the longest shot put throw? Do you have any idea?
The longest shot put throw?
Yeah.
I would say probably Jim Neidhart.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the second...
Well, that was very nice of him, wasn't it? We do appreciate your call, Mike, and when your mom and daddy let you back outside, you probably call us again, okay? Let's go back now to, we're going to go down to line number 8. Let's go to line 8. And, Brian, you're on the air.
Hi, Jim. My name's Brian Heiss, and I'm the president of the Jim Cornette fan club.
You're calling from Long Island, New York, I understand.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling. What's your question or comment?
I just wanted to say that after talking it over with Mr. Cornette, we started setting up formation of the club on your new show. If I could I just give an address for where people could write for more information?
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't you, I don't know exactly how to handle that. I don't want to take the time
I'll
right
tell
now.
you how to handle it right now. First of all, if you want to be stupid enough to start a fan club for Jim Cornette, we shouldn't even allow you on the air. And as for you being from Long Island, New York, you should be from Long Island because that's not even really part of New York. It's more like being from Jersey. You probably have a toxic waste dump right outside your house, and I think we should hang up on you right now. Jim Cornette fan club.
All right.
He's from New York. He's probably not even from New York. He probably just said it to agitate me. We have real human beings in New York.
Fans, we're going to have a little trivia contest coming up a little bit later. What we're going to do here, I want you to listen very closely. We're going to be giving the winner of the trivia contest a set, a case from Impel Marketing of the Stomp Collection. These are the great new trading cards that are available now in the stores or wherever you would buy trading cards. These are going to be collector's editions. I can guarantee you that. And we want you to participate in our trivia contest, but there's a special number you need to call. The number to remember is 741-0750. That is our contest line, 741-0750. And we're going to take the 10th caller. Daryl, is that okay? The 10th caller on 741-0750. We want to know, in January of 1991, Paulie Dangerously had an altercation in an arena with a National Football League star. What was the arena, and who was the star? The 10th caller.
Oh, I know the answer.
741-0750.
I know the answer.
We're going to go back to the phones. Why don't you just be quiet, will you? Calm down. Drink some decaf coffee and just be calm. We're going to line 2 because Tyrone has a question or a comment about Sting.
No, man, I don't want to talk about Sting. I want to know when them going to be a brother champion. I'm sick of all them white people being champions.
Well, I'll tell you what, Tyrone, I believe that there's a great athlete by the name of Ron Simmons that certainly has an opportunity to gain that lofty status. The All-American from Florida State is really doing well in WCW, and I think he's going to have a great chance to be the world's heavyweight champion somewhere down the road. We're going to go down to line 3. Bob, you're on the air.
Yes, Jim, I read in the newspaper that the World Wrestling Federation will hold its largest summer show on July 14th. Is that true?
Their largest show of the summer on July 14th?
Yeah, Busch Stadium in St. Louis. And it said the main event will feature the Ultimate Warrior versus The Undertaker, and the loser being carried from the ring in a coffin.
I'm not really aware of that. I know they're going to be in St. Louis about that time. I know on July 14th, where we're going to be in Baltimore for the Great American Bash pay-per-view spectacular that we'll be talking about here in the upcoming weeks. Let's go now to line number 5, and you're on the air, AM 750. This is Jim Ross, and go ahead.
Hello, I'm a big fan of the Steiner Brothers, and I want to know, I have 3 quick questions.
All right.
Who was the Steiner Brothers wrestling at the Classic Champions?
The Steiner Brothers Classic Champions are wrestling Hase and Chono from Japan. They are the number 1 international contenders for the Steiner's IWGP titles. What's your second question? You got a question?
And I want to know, what happened to Mike Rotunda?
Mike Rotunda left World Championship Wrestling, and Mike is, I'm not sure Mike's competing, I think, up in New York.
Up in New York.
And I have a comment from Paul E.
Okay, hurry.
I want to tell him that whatever men can do, women can do better.
Attaboy. Thank you very much for calling. Appreciate it very much. We are now, if I'm not mistaken, at time for a little commercial break. We have to pay a light bill here, right, Gary?
All right, let's take a time out right here, JR. We want to talk about something that you and I really love talking about. You always say on the show, it comes down to the 2 C's, Connie, cash and creative. Well, I'll tell you what, we've got a creative way for you to save some cash thanks to our friends at Rocket Money. And I have to admit, when I first heard about Rocket Money, I thought, well, that can't save me any money. You see, the idea is we all sign up for subscriptions and then we kind of forget about them. And I thought, well, not me. I'm a good steward with my money. What could they possibly find that I missed? Turns out, a lot. I signed up for a DAZN fight, and I didn't realize it, but when I signed up for the monthly subscription, I never canceled it. So that fight happened more than a year prior to when I actually signed up for DAZN, and they were just hitting my account every single month. I was throwing my money away, Jim. Well, not anymore, thanks to Rocket Money. Not only that, they found that the wife and I both signed up for Hulu, but dude, we watch TV together. We don't need 2 separate Hulu accounts. Now I'm saving money every single month, and it's all because of Rocket Money. And you may not realize this, but subscriptions are draining your wallet too. The average person has around 12 paid subscriptions, and man, they don't even remember they're subscribed or signed up for about half of those. And you don't really know how much you're spending until you sign up for Rocket Money. At least that was my experience. By the way, it does a lot more than that. It's a great app that tracks all of your expenses, so you know exactly where your money is gone. And it turns out like over 80% of people have something they signed up for that they forgot about. Maybe it's a streaming service or a fitness program. Whatever it is, they take your unwanted subscriptions and they cancel them. They monitor your spending. They help you lower your bills. It all happens in one place. You see, most folks think they're spending like $80 a month on subscriptions. Try closer to $200. Yeah, $200 a month. And here's what's cool about Rocket Money. When you find the ones you're like, wait, I don't remember signing up for that. I don't even use that. You press one button and bam, it's done. No more hold times with customer service. No more silly emails back and forth. Rocket Money does all the work for you. By the way, they can even negotiate lower bills for you by up to 20%. Check this out. You just take a picture of your bill and Rocket Money takes care of the rest. They can even help you create custom budgets based on your past spending and give you a heads up. Hey man, you're spending a lot more than normal this month. Wouldn't that be nice? There's over 3 million folks saving money with Rocket Money. You could be next. A lot of these folks are saving over $720 a year. But how much can you save? Find out right now when you stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and manage your money the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/JR. That's rocketmoney.com/JR. rocketmoney.com/JR.
Wrestling with Jim Ross. You can talk to Jim Ross and his guests. Call 872-0750 or 1-800-WSB-TALK. Now, back to Jim Ross.
Thanks very much, and welcome back, everyone, to AM 750 WSB. If you'd like to be involved in the broadcast, as you heard the numbers, if you're in the Atlanta area, it's 872-0750. Or if you're outside the Atlanta dialing exchange, we encourage you to call 1-800-WSB-TALK. We had our trivia contest, our first question, a little bit earlier. The question was, in January of this year, in a major arena, my guest in the studio, Paulie, dangerously had an altercation of sorts with a current star in the National Football League. And we have Tim on the air. Tim, are you there?
Yes.
And you have the answer.
It's Lawrence Taylor.
And what arena?
Wasn't it the Meadowlands?
You got it, Tim. You are the winner tonight of the collection of trading cards, a stomp collection from Impel Marketing. You're going to really like these. I got a set of them. I think that anybody that's a collector is really going to get into this stuff, and they're available right now wherever cards are sold. Tim, we appreciate you calling. I have your address. We will mail your cards out. You will have them this week, and thanks for listening to the program. Paul, we have a big event coming to the Omni in Atlanta on Sunday, June 23rd, 7:30 will be the starting time in the Omni. A tremendous card there. A lights-out Texas death match is the main event. Sting will take on Nikita Koloff. The fans that may not be familiar, you might want to explain exactly what a Texas death match is.
Well, Texas death match, a lights-out Texas death match, is a very controversial match. World Championship Wrestling will not sanction this match. As a matter of fact, in New York and New Jersey, where I come from, they won't even allow it to be held within a wrestling arena. And what happens?
They have them in cabs there.
They have them in cabs. They have them in the subways. Yeah, we do it in the streets. But you see, that's exactly what it's all about. It's like being in the street with a guy. There are no rules. There's nothing. You can't stop the match because a guy's bleeding. You can't stop the match on disqualification on a count-out. It's still actually one man's going to leave the building and the other man doesn't.
And the thing to remember, fans, in the Omni, a Texas death match, it can go to any number of falls. There'll be a 30-second rest period between falls, and the way that a winner is determined is for his opponent not to be able to answer the bell from that after the bell rings. So it's going to be a tough situation. As a matter of fact, that big event in the Omni is one of the biggest lineups of the year in the Omni. Sunday, June 23rd, 7:30 is the starting time. Tickets are on sale now. As a matter of fact, I really encourage you to get your tickets early. They're on sale at all Ticketmaster outlets, and will be available the day of the event at the box office at the Omni. Now we're going to go back to the phones. We're going to go to Peter in Sandy Springs. Hi, Peter, and thanks for calling.
Hey, how you doing today?
I'm fine, thanks.
Okay, Jim Ross, I just wanted to tell you that you're one of the best commentators in wrestling I've seen today.
Well, thanks, Peter. I appreciate that. Do you have a question or comment to Paul E?
Yeah, Paulie, are you going to have another danger zone? Because that's the best part of the card, because you always mouth off to the good guys and you get pounded. And I just love it.
Oh, yeah, the Danger Zone is still alive and well. See, everybody's been talking about how I was fired from the Danger Zone on Saturday night. I'm the co-host of the Saturday Night Show with Jim Ross. The Danger Zone, being such a hot show, is now exclusively on Sunday nights on Superstation TBS on the WCW main event.
Peter, thanks for calling. We appreciate you listening to Wrestling with Jim Ross here on AM 750 WSB.
He's very
let's go now to line number. Yeah, he's probably one of your buddies. Let's go to Jeff on a car phone. Jeff, thanks for calling.
Hey, Jim, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. I understand you've got a trivia question for us.
Good trivia question. What wrestler holds the record for the most touchdown catches in the old Florida Citrus Bowl?
What wrestler holds the record? That's a great question. Paul, do you want to try that one?
I think it was Joe Pedicino who was sitting up about on a 50-yard line.
No, not hot dog eating.
And they ran out of pizzas and pretzels to stuff his face with.
You stumped us.
No, it was Paul Orndorff when he played for the University of Tampa.
There you go. There you go.
Well, that was my second answer.
I happened to be at that game, and I saw him at an airport and asked him the question. He couldn't believe that record was still standing, but it's still there in the record books.
Jeff, thanks for calling. We appreciate it. Thanks for listening.
I got a trivia question for you.
All right.
Who cares?
Yeah, well, that's a great Jeff call him a car phone, and interesting question there. Let's go to Scott. Scott, do you have a question or comment on Wrestling with Jim Ross on AM 750 WSB?
Yes, thank you. Hi, Jim.
How you doing?
I'm glad to see that you made it on the radio. I've been a big fan of yours for years with Bill Watts.
And I also got a comment for Paul Reed that I'm going to ask you a question, and that'll be it.
Okay.
My comment to Paul Reed, and I hope you can hear me, Mr. Dangerously.
I can hear you just fine.
I applaud you for some of the things you do, but I find some of the things that you do kind of wacky. You and Missy, you're grown-ups. Start acting like it. And my question is, you see a lot of unknown wrestlers that come on that, there are no names like Randy Barber, and then there was one who was a bouncer here in Atlanta that had a mishap. You no longer see him on wrestling. How does one become a wrestler through that means?
Well, I'll tell you something. I appreciate your call. To get into wrestling is a very difficult situation, and basically there's several wrestling schools. One in Lovejoy, Georgia, as a matter of fact, that we'll be telling you fans about. We're going to be telling you how you can get into wrestling as these shows progress in the next few weeks. It's a very involved process. I can assure you that it's a very involved process, and we'll be talking about that. I'm not giving you a very good answer. There's a lot of schools. There's a lot of camps. You have a lot of athletic ability. There's an interview process to go through, physical process, testing, and so forth. But it's not easy to get into that. I want to have an interesting question here. I want to go to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and Lee, you're on the air.
Hi, Jim. What's going on tonight?
How you doing? How's it in Baton Rouge?
Baton Rouge is kind of hot down here, but you didn't say so. I want to ask you, I know the Russian Nightmare Nikita Koloff is now teamed with Sting.
Yes, he is.
Well, I was going to ask you, who's now challenging Lex Luger for the title?
Well, I'll tell you something. I think Lex Luger has his focus on the World's Heavyweight Championship because Lex Luger at the Clash of Champions live on TBS on Wednesday, June 12th, will be wrestling the great Muta. And Muta defeated Sting very controversially in Tokyo in March. So Muta's the number one international contender. Luger's the number one contender overall in WCW rankings. So I think Lex Luger, he's going to have a lot of challenges. There's a lot of great athletes coming after Luger, but I think right now Luger has almost got his career of the U.S. title on hold because he's preparing to wrestle Ric Flair at the Great American Bash if he can beat the Great Muta, which is a big if. What do you say, Paul?
Oh, it's a real big if. As a matter of fact, tomorrow night in Birmingham, Alabama, when we film our next set of national television tapings, if I can get a danger zone with Lex Luger, I'm going to ask him why he's disgracing the U.S. title by ignoring it in pursuit of this egotistical goal.
Thanks for calling from Baton Rouge, and is it Nilla?
It's Nilla.
Nilla, how you doing? What's your question here on Wrestling with Jim Ross on AM 750 WSB?
Yes, I would like to know what exactly is going on with Dustin Rhodes and Mrs. Alexandria York.
Well, a lot of people are asking that question right now. I can tell you that. I think that Paul, what I see in this is that Dustin Rhodes is undefeated in WCW. He's an outstanding athlete. We all know his father is the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, who will be my guest right here in the studio next Sunday night on Wrestling with Jim Ross on AM 750 WSB. I think she's recruiting the guy just like you would a blue chip football player.
Well, you see, here's another thing. I'd like to get a danger zone tomorrow night during the national TV taping in Birmingham, Alabama with maybe Dustin Rhodes, because here's a kid that's been offered a huge contract by Ms. Alexandra York and the York Foundation. He's been turning her down, but the money keeps going up, and sooner or later, he's going to have to give that magic answer of yes.
Big A, you're on the air on Wrestling with Jim Ross. What's your question or comment?
Jim, I think you're a real nice guy, and
well, you don't know him too well.
Well, I didn't ask nothing out of you, Jim Cornette.
Well, it's close. It's Paulie Dangerously, but, you know...
He acts like Jim Cornette to me.
Well, thank you, Einstein. Spit the tobacco out and ask your question.
I ain't asking you nothing. I'm talking Jim Ross. I want anything out of you, I pull a string.
There, boy. What's your question?
Have you seen... what's his name? The guy used to beat Ric Flair. What's his name?
Well, I don't know. Not too many guys that beat Ric Flair. And, you
got to stop having your relatives call in, you know.
You can't remember who he was?
What is his name? He's a real dark-like guy, you know.
Well, I'm really not sure. I'll tell you what, you think about it and call us back. But I appreciate it.
Thanks for, in a week when I'm not here.
Thanks for calling us. We're talking about Ric Flair. Flair, the world's heavyweight champion, certainly a marked man. And we are going now to we're going to go talk to Ryan in Snellville. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, I'd just like to comment on, I've been watching wrestling for many, many years, and it's been a real joy, and I really don't care about this Missy Hyatt thing with Paulie here. It really doesn't.
A lot of us don't care about that.
and Polly needs to mind his business, and so does Missy Hyatt, and you're doing a wonderful job. Thanks a lot.
Ryan, thanks for calling. We appreciate your call. This is Wrestling with Jim Ross on AM 750 WSB. Don't forget, next Sunday night, 9 o'clock, we'll be here with you each and every Sunday night, as a matter of fact, here on AM 750 WSB. And next week, my guest in the studio will be the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Well, right now, we're going to go back to the phones. Tommy, you're on AM 750 WSB.
Yes, I was wondering if Jimmy Valiant's still wrestling.
Jimmy Valiant. I hadn't heard that name in a long time. Jimmy Valiant, I think, is still wrestling from time to time. I believe Paul, doesn't he live over in Charlotte?
He lives in Charlotte, and his wife owns a big flower shop over there, so he's real comfortable. You know, his wife brings home a lot of money, and he just sits back and rakes in the dough.
Jimmy Valiant, interesting question. Was real charismatic at one time. Let's go now to
back in the 20s.
Let's go down to William in LaGrange. William, you're on the air.
I want to know is WCW wrestlers going to get the WWF wrestlers.
Okay, you have to
enunciate. I think the word is enunciate.
Say that one more time. What's your question?
I said, is the WCW wrestlers ever going to go get the WWF wrestlers?
Oh, is the WCW ever going to go into WWF? I'd love to see that, almost like a Super Bowl or a World Series. It'd be great. I'd put my money on the WCW any time, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. I don't think that's ever going to happen.
No more calls from Mayberry.
You know,
okay?
Fans, we do appreciate you being with us here tonight. You know, we got a great weekend of television coming up this weekend. 9:05 for the Power Hour. Some big matches just coming on the Power Hour this week. We introduced a lot of new wrestlers yesterday on World Championship Wrestling. Stunning Steve Austin, Black Blood, Johnny B. Bad was on the broadcast. PN News is really becoming a great sensation. We've got a great broadcast for you this coming Saturday night, 6:05. That program being airing in one of the flagship programs on TBS since, I guess, 1973. 6:05. Paul Ede and I'll be there. Missy Hyatt will be there as well, Paul, and it should be a great broadcast. Would you agree?
Well, certainly will. As a matter of fact, next Saturday night on Superstation TBS at 6:05 Eastern Time, Dusty Rhodes has another bull drop in with a very good friend of mine, Arn Anderson, and Mr. Anderson has asked me to look into this Jason Hervey situation.
Jason Hervey becoming a nemesis of Paulie Dangerously, and we'll be talking about that a little bit later in the broadcast here tonight. Fans, you heard us give away those trading cards a little bit earlier in the broadcast from Impel Marketing. This is really something special. If you're a baseball card collector or you collect football cards, as I have for many, many years, then I want to tell you to get in on the ground floor of this situation. Wherever trading cards are sold, these are great cards from Impel Marketing, great people over in Raleigh, North Carolina. I think there's probably 200 cards in this set. We gave a lucky winner a set of those cards a little bit earlier. Tim Floyd won the set of the cards. Missy Hyatt has a card. Myself, the two announcers. For some reason, Paul Lee was left out of that situation. But we're going to be giving away sets, a box, a whole shelf box full of these trading cards every Sunday night here on the program. But these are great collector's edition cards. Get them early, and we'll be talking more about the value of collecting trading cards, wrestling trading cards, in upcoming weeks. Welcome back to AM 750 WSB. I'm Jim Ross, and you're listening to Wrestling with Jim Ross. And I want to tell you that our meteorologist, Kirk Millis, says that tonight, any thunderstorms will be ending. It's going to be humid and hazy tonight, with a low of 68 degrees. Tomorrow, look for it to be partly sunny and hot, with a high of 93. The low tomorrow night, 72 degrees. Right now, it is 80 degrees in Atlanta. Remember, back in the Omni, WCW action in the Omni will be Sunday night, June 23rd, 7:30 will be the starting time. Next week, we'll be giving some primo tickets away for that event in the Omni. It was a big, big card. We mentioned Sting and Nikita Koloff and the Lights Out Texas Death Match, stretcher match. Elegante and Lex Luger will take on Ric Flair and the One-Man Gang. The Steiner brothers will defend the World Tag Titles against Stan Hansen and Barry Windham. Just three of the many great matches that you can see, and I hope you get by Ticketmaster and get your tickets for that one. We want to go now to Daniel in Woodstock. Daniel, how you doing?
Fine. Yes, I'd like to know why WCW does not recognize when Harley Race beat Ric Flair in Auckland, New Zealand for the world title.
I didn't know they didn't.
Well, they did, it'd make him 8-time World Heavyweight Champion.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I'd have to research that. I wasn't aware. I thought that included his 7-time reign, but I will do some research. That's a very good question, Daniel. We do appreciate you calling from Woodstock. Right now, Philip has a question. Philip, you're from Duluth, I see, and you have a question about the junior heavyweight title.
Yeah, I heard it was going to be coming back. I didn't know if it was, and if it was going to be a tournament or...
Well, they don't have one. Right now, Philip, what the situation is that the WCW officials, led by Executive Vice President Jim Hurd, examining the concept and the feasibility of reinstituting the junior heavyweight division. I'm not sure if it's going to be it's going to come through or not, to be quite honest with you, but we hope to have an announcement on one of our broadcasts on TBS. Of course, you can hear every weekend, 9:05 Saturday morning, 6:05 Saturday night, and 6:05 Sunday nights. On most Sunday nights, except tonight, the Braves were on, and the Braves are really making us all very, very proud. They're playing great. Paul, let's take another call. Byron in Peachtree City.
Yes, I'd like to identify black blood, please.
You'd like to do what?
I'd like to identify black blood.
You'd like to identify black blood.
Right.
Okay, who do you think black blood is?
I believe he's Billy Jack Haynes.
Well, that's probably a good guess. I wouldn't have any idea. Well, maybe he'll be unmasked somewhere down the road. I know one thing. He was a very, very impressive individual yesterday on our broadcast. Treat.
It's Threet.
Threet, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. I have 2 quick questions for you.
Okay.
First of all, are you going to be making any appearances this summer in the Seattle Center Coliseum up in Seattle, Washington?
I don't think we're scheduled for Seattle, but I will do some checking on that. Are you going to be up that way?
Yeah, that's where I live during the summertime.
Uh-huh.
And we have season tickets to the Seattle Supersonics as the NBA basketball team.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's my favorite team. And so I was just wondering, that's where I'm going up there.
I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll be giving... go ahead.
I'm sorry. And my second question is, I've seen Paul lately, and I did watch.
Well, I guess he had a little...
He's in Seattle for the summer because that's where the work release program sends him.
That
he and his mother were something they did in Louisiana. What was that?
That high caffeine cocoa. Charlie, you're on the air on AM 750 WSB. This is Jim Ross.
Yeah, is it true that Mr. Hughes is the big cat?
Mr. Hughes, I think, used to be the big cat. I call him Mr. Big Cat. He's so big. He's 375 pounds. He can be anything he wants. He's quite a bodyguard for Alexander York, no doubt about that. Let's take another call. Michael. How you doing, Michael? You're
Hey, Jim Ross, what you doing?
Oh, I'm just babysitting Paul E. Dangerously. What's your question or comment?
I was wondering, where's Buzz Sawyer?
Buzz Sawyer. I think Buzz Sawyer has a wrestling school in Sacramento, California, and from time to time wrestles in Japan. I do appreciate your call. Thanks very much. Paul, we've got a lot of things. We want to thank everybody for calling tonight. We're going to be here. I'm going to be here. You're not going to be here, thank goodness. Each and every Sunday night, 9 o'clock right here on AM 750 WSB.
I'm not?
Remember, next week on the broadcast, the American Dream Dusty Rhodes will be here as our guest in the studio. We're gonna have a lot of fun with the American Dream here next Sunday night. We want you to be sure and listen to the broadcast. And this weekend, big weekend of TV for us at TBS because we're getting ready for June 12th Clash of Champions. Paul, I know you have on your mind to perhaps interview Jason Hervey of the Wonder Years.
Yeah, I've challenged Jason Hervey, who's Missy Hyatt's boyfriend. I've challenged Jason to be on the Danger Zone at the Clash of the Champions. He has not responded to my letters. He's not responded to my phone calls. So during the Bull Drop-In this Saturday, either he's going to respond to me or I'm going to just maybe drop in on old Dusty Rhodes and ask him about his little sidekick.
Well, I think that would be a real intelligent thing for you to jump right up in the face of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and just really tell him how you feel.
He's afraid of me.
Dusty Rhodes is afraid of you?
He's afraid of me.
Oh, I'm sure that he is.
I get fan letters from him all the time.
Oh, yeah?
He's a big fan.
All right, well, let's go back to some more calls. We've got a little bit of time left. We're going to take some more calls.
Did you know that?
William, you're on the air on AM 750 WSB. William is gone. Hello, you're on the air on AM 750 WSB.
Yes, I have 3 quick questions.
All right.
One of them, I was wondering, did Big Van Vader go back to Japan?
Big Van Vader wrestles a great deal in Japan, in Mexico, and in Germany, but he'll be back in WCW sometime this summer.
Another thing, I was wondering if you know of any of the events they're going to have when the Great American Bash Tour comes to the Omni in August.
The Great American Bash Tour will be in the Omni on Sunday, August 26th. We'll tell you about that and much more information right here next week on the broadcast. Paul, thanks for being with us. I'll see you in Birmingham tomorrow night.
I don't have to stop talking, do I?
You have to stop talking.
You're not going to cut my microphone for. I mean, I really have a lot of things to say, and
Well, that's all for Paulie Daniels. Boy, this is really great. I love this part of the program. I can control this microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd certainly appreciate you being with us here tonight on AM 750 WSB on Wrestling with Jim Ross. We had a lot of fun tonight. I'm sorry we couldn't get to all the phone calls. Our phones were banked up all night long. We had every line lit. Certainly a great way to kick off the broadcast. Don't forget, next week, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, will be here with us in the studio, 9 o'clock next Sunday night. Be sure and join us this weekend on TBS for all the great WCW wrestling action. So until next week, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jim Ross. So long.
The leaders in below-the-waist grooming have just launched their 5th-generation performance package to help you avoid another silent night in the bedroom this year. Take care of your special snowflake with the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra and watch your South Pole shine like never before. Get the best stocking stuffer of all by going to manscaped.com and using our code Jim Ross for 20% off plus free shipping. Mrs. Claus will thank you. I got to tell you, I have given this gift many times over the holidays, and it is a hit every single time. Go out of your way to buy somebody in your life, whether it's your favorite uncle, your dad, your grandfather, your father-in-law. There's a dirty Santa opportunity. There will be smiles, there will be chuckles, but it is not a gag gift. This is serious business. They're going to use it. They're going to love it. And it's the gift that keeps on giving, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. Manscaped is a one-stop shop for all your holiday needs. This Performance Package 5.0 has everything you need. It's the perfect stocking stuffer. And what could be better than giving the gift of good hygiene and a few laughs? With the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, it's the crown jewel of the holidays and, dare I say, the best ball trimmer of all time. It's got the advanced skin safe technology. That way we can make sure there's no nicks or cuts on Santa's sack. But the fun doesn't stop there. They've got the Manscaped Beard Hedger Pro Kit and the Handyman Electric Face Shaver for all of your facial hair needs. Maybe your dad's got some nasty ass nose hairs. Well, we get rid of those with the Weed Whacker 2.0. Maybe their boxer game is weak. Well, check out the Boxers 2.0. They got a signature jewel patch to keep you cool, calm, and collected. And maybe their nails have seen better days. Well, they got the Shears 3.0 nail grooming kit. It really is an awesome gift for the hard to get by in your life. It's 20% off and free shipping when you use our code Jim Ross at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Just use the code Jim Ross and say ho, ho, ho to a well-groomed mistletoe with Manscaped.
Yeah, right.
Now, it's Wrestling with Jim Ross on News Talk Radio AM 750 WSB. You can talk with America's leading wrestling broadcaster and his guests. Call 872-0750. Now, here's Jim Ross.
Thanks very much, and hello again, everyone. Welcome to the program. Glad to have you with us here tonight on a rainy and cold Georgia night. We have what I think will be a very entertaining and a very informative broadcast for you. I will be talking live with the manager of the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Tag Team Champions, one of the most colorful and controversial figures in the sport of wrestling, Jim Cornette. And he'll be taking your telephone calls if you'd like to be a part of the program. Again, our number is 872-0750, 1-800-WSB-TALK. All 9 lines are blinking. We'll be getting to you here momentarily. Our producer, Daryl Harris, will be talking with you as quickly as he can. And we'll be going to Mr. Cornette in just a moment or two. I want to remind you of a couple of 3 things that have happened in the last hours, as a matter of fact. This afternoon, WCW in the Omni, and Sting was disqualified in his match with Big Van Vader. So Vader wins the match via disqualification and obviously retains the WCW Heavyweight Championship of the world. Another explosive situation developed in the 6-man elimination tag match. Barry Windham, Brian Pillman, and Stunning Steve Austin took on Shane Douglas, Ricky Steamboat, and Dustin Rhodes. We understand a tremendous brawl all through the Omni, and all reaches of the Omni occurred after that 6-man elimination match that was won by Steamboat and his team. Apparently, the police had to be called in. It was really a chaotic situation in the Omni this afternoon.
between especially Steamboat in Douglas and Pillman in Austin. And we understand that Douglas sustained a knee injury. We don't know the severity of it. Don't know if he's going to miss any wrestling time, but we do know that his knee was a little banged up in that melee. Also, Paul Orndorff defeated Cactus Jack. Benny Vegas got the win over Johnny Gunn. The Wrecking Crew beat the team of Marcus Bagwell and Joey Mag. Steve Regal got the 3 count on Tex Slashinger, and Tuco Scorpio beat Scotty Flamingo, and Chris Benoit with the Phil Nelson German suplex defeated the Z-Man. The next event in the Omni here in Atlanta will be on Sunday, March the 28th, and we'll have more information on that in the next few weeks. Also, as announced this weekend, the World Television Title Tournament will begin on TV next weekend. 2 conferences. The Anderson Conference will be contested on Worldwide Wrestling, and the Mr. Wrestling 2 Conference will be on the Sunday main event. And on the Worldwide, in the next few weeks, you can expect to see Eric Watts and Johnny Gunn, Max Payne and Marcus Bagwell, Robbie V and Shanghai Pierce, Benny Vegas and Heavy Metal Van Hammer. That's the 8 men that comprise the Anderson Conference. Many of the younger competitors in WCW featured in that 8-man bracket. In the Wrestling 2 Conference, again, which will start a week from today on the main event, Paul Orndorff meets Tuco Scorpio. The Z-Man goes one-on-one with Cactus Jack. It'll be Steve Regal and the Barbarian, and Chris Benoit and Johnny B. Bad. So those 2 tournament, that one tournament in 2 conferences will begin next week on television. So keep your eye on that situation. Let's see if and the Super Brawl 3. Getting completely carried away here before I go to Master James E. Cornette in just moments, and we're just, a breath or 2 away from having that conversation. The White Castle of Fear leather strap match, Sting Invader, that's been much discussed. The bottom line, as Ric Flair would say, and I do have a Ric Flair update as well, is the fact that this event is 2 weeks away. It's on pay-per-view. If you would like to be in attendance and see it live, the number to call is 704-251-9999. We'll be talking more about the card, and we will be talking, I'll give you this number again, 704-251-9999, that number, a little bit later in the program. Again, that is a number to call during business hours, which I'm assuming in Asheville is Monday through Friday from around 10 o'clock until, I don't know, supper time. Anyway, let's go to the telephone, and we have on the line from his palatial estate somewhere in the Smoky Mountain region, Jim Cornette. And Mr. Cornette, thank you for being with us tonight.
Well, I'm glad, first of all, you got those business hours in Asheville correct, Jim Ross. And also, I just want to say that, my phone's been ringing off the hook today. You called me. Everybody's been calling me. I'm almost hoarse from answering the telephone. And the bottom line is, just like WSB, just like their slogan goes, news broke out when we broke in last night on TBS.
Boy, is that the truth. A lot of people were certainly impacted by that event.
I saw a few people down there that looked like they'd been impacted for a while.
Well, the situation certainly has not lessened with you and no matter who you manage in the Rock and Roll Express. Now, this thing last night has gotten, as you said, a lot of people talking. I'm going to be interested to see what the ratings are on Saturday. It's going to be pretty interesting, and then to see what they are next week, because a lot of people and a lot of folks I ran into today are talking about that confrontation. What's the big problem with your people and the Rock and Roll Express? Because it's not a new problem. It's been around a long time.
Well, I got a lot of problems, and you got a lot of time, so I'll go ahead and just lay them out for you and for all the people listening to this program.
Do I have time to go get a cheeseburger? I need one, you know.
As a matter of fact, go get 2 cheeseburgers, run down there to the varsity, bring me back a milkshake.
Okay.
Here's what the problem is. The problem is everybody knows that I've hated the Rock and Roll Express just about ever since birth, and they've been a thorn in my side for a long time. Well, a couple of years ago, like I said last night when we busted in on TBS, when I walked out of World Championship Wrestling, and it took Stan Lane with me because the people running that organization were trying to make the Midnight Express look bad. The Rock and Roll Express at that time had been disbanded. They went through some changes, went through some personal problems. Robert Gibson had a knee surgery. They were out of action as a team for a couple of years. I thought it was just like, finding out that the chemotherapy was working, right? That they were gone out of my life. And Stan Lane and I, We bumped around for a while, different places, trying to decide what we were going to do, trying to make a new assault on tag team wrestling. We found Dr. Tom Pritchard, the perfect ally for Sweet Stan Lane. We formed the Heavenly Bodies, and we went to Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Well, then, everything was going fine. We were the Smoky Mountain Tag Team Champions, hottest new regional promotion in the country, a place where they appreciate wrestling talent, which they didn't appreciate Jim Cornette when he was around there before. So what we did was we won those belts, and then all of a sudden, the Rock and Roll Express decides to get back together again. Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, they not only get back together, but where do they come? They come to Smoky Mountain Wrestling trying to make life miserable for me. And they got in a ring with my guys, and they stole the tag team titles. And I wouldn't even finish kicking my dog about that situation when I turn on my television. I'm sitting in my living room, and there on national TV is fathead cowboy Bill Watts showing videotape of the Rock and Roll Express beating the Heavenly Bodies' brains out. They took a 45-minute match, the only 2 minutes where the Rock and Roll Express saw the light of day, and they showed that on national television. Make a big deal about the Rock and Roll Express, legendary tag team. We're going to sign them to come to Super Brawl. We're going to show them nationwide to all their former fans, all the people who supported them, not saying a word about the Heavenly Bodies being the greatest tag team around. So I did a couple of things about that, Jim Ross. The first thing I did was I called beautiful Bobby Eaton because I saw that the time was right. He had been down there and he had been misused and put in bad positions, and I saw that the time was right to bring Bobby Eaton back into the fold. I called him. He came up here to Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and we accomplished what we set out to do with the Rock and Roll Express, and that was beat them for the tag team title.
I heard that Bobby's outside interference really won that match for your team.
No.
What
It was moral support. It was the moral support of knowing that now the two greatest tag teams of all time, that Express and the Heavenly Bodies, had been joined together into a single unit. That's exactly what happened. And I thought that was going to take care of this problem with WCW. I thought they would say, well, the Rock and Roll Express lost the belt. They're a bunch of losers, so we ain't going to have them on Super Brawl. But no, instead, the next week on TV, they bring the Rock and Roll Express out. Bill Watts himself puts up a couple of folding chairs. They sit down there like they're some kind of visiting dignitaries or royalty or something. We say, we don't care whether the Rock and Roll Express lost the belts. They're legendary. They're still on Super Brawl. In other words, slapping me and the Heavenly Bodies in the face again. So what we did was we came down there and we disrupted your little Saturday evening tea party because Bill Watts wouldn't return my phone calls. Nobody in TBS wants to talk to Jim Cornette because, to tell you the truth, for 2 years, Jim Cornette hadn't want to talk to nobody in TBS. So he wouldn't answer me, so I came to see him face-to-face, and the result is what happened last night. I asked for a public apology. Fathead didn't give it to me, but what he did do was try to coerce us into getting in the ring with the Rock and Roll Express. We took the challenge, even though we weren't even dressed to wrestle, and then everybody got mad when we left the Rock and Roll Express laying face down in the middle of the ring with their toes stuck in their ears, and I hit a referee in the process, and now they're making a big stink about that. But what are they going to do? We don't work for WCW. They can't fine us. They can't fire us. They can't suspend us. So I guess what Bill Watts is going to have to do is write a letter to the editor, because that's about all he's going to get done.
Well, I think you got a great point. As far as that you don't wrestle for WCW, therefore you're not governed under their rules. But that's another hot topic of conversation down here, Jim, is the fact that you did strike the referee with the end of your tennis racket, and there could be some retribution, one would think.
Well, I'll tell you what he can do. He can go down to the Atlanta City Police Department, and he can file a warrant on me, which I've had done a few times in the past, as you know. He can file a warrant on me for assault, and I can give it to my law firm, and they can go down there and they can get it thrown out of court, and we can tie it up till we all got beards down to our crotches, and the whole thing is they ain't going to do nothing to me. They ain't going to do nothing to me because they can't, and they can't do anything to Stan Lane or Tom Pritchard or Bobby Eaton because we are no longer associated with World Championship Wrestling, and I like it that way.
Do you still have the same law firm?
I still, as a matter of fact, not only am I still associated with the same law firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe, but now I have gone to a different law firm to handle my civil cases, Trickle Down and Drip.
Okay, well, we'll get more on that with Jim Cornette in just a few moments. We've got to take a break. We appreciate your telephone calls. All of our lines are busy. We're going to get to our calls. We've got calls from New York City, from Greenville, Tennessee, Cartersville, Georgia, all over the Southeast here on Wrestling with Jim Ross. And we'll be back with more of your calls on News Talk Radio, AM 750 WSB.
This is Missy Hyatt, the most fabulous babe in wrestling, and you're listening to Wrestling with Jim Ross on AM 750 WSB. Why don't you give him a call at 872-0750, or if you're outside the Atlanta area, call him at 1-800-WSB-TALK.
And welcome back, everyone, to the program. Our undefeated meteorologist, Kirk Headlock Mellish, who probably never lost a wrestling match in his entire career, says that tonight we can expect a low in the upper 30s, but tomorrow here in the Atlanta area becoming mostly sunny with a high in the lower 60s. Right now it's 44 degrees here in Atlanta. Back with Jim Cornette in just a moment. I do want to remind everyone that tomorrow night WCW will be national television taping, having a national television taping at the center stage tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. And then on Tuesday night, back in Gainesville, Georgia, that event was rained out the last time there. A plumbing problem struck the building, and it was the first time in the history of televised wrestling that the event held indoors was called because of too much water on the grounds. Friday night, WCW will be in Houston at the Sam Houston Coliseum, also in Waycross, Georgia, at the City Auditorium. This Saturday night, the 13th of February, Alexandria, Louisiana, at the Rapides Parish Coliseum. Also in White, Georgia, at the White City Gym. And then 1 week from today in Thibodaux, Louisiana, down at the Civic Center. And then events also coming up, of course, in Dothan, Alabama on Tuesday, the 16th of February. Live Oak, Florida on the 18th. Jacksonville, Florida on the 19th. Cedartown, Georgia on the 20th. And Super Brawl in Asheville, North Carolina comes your way on Sunday, the 21st of February. Again, if you want ticket information, it is 704-251-9999. Jim Cornette, I know that you've got a lot of, we know that this feud with the Rock and Roll Express is something that, as we said, just didn't start last night on TBS and certainly did not end last night on TBS. When do you plan on having your team wrestle the Rock and Roll Express, and where might we see that?
Well, you're going to be able to see it several times. I want to mention a couple of things. Barberville, Kentucky at the Knox Central High School, Saturday night, February 13th. Not only are they going to see the Heavenly Bodies in the Rock and Roll Express, but also we got a little problem up here with another team called the Stud Stable, Robert Fuller, Jimmy Golden, and Dutch Mantell. And that night there's also going to be a six-man lights-out match with the Stud Stable and the Heavenly Bodies in Barberville, Kentucky on the 13th. And everybody up here is talking about Knoxville, Tennessee, the Civic Coliseum, Friday night, February the 19th, because, brother, that's when it's all going to take place. And the Rock and Roll Express, I don't think, are going to make it to that Super Brawl, because we're going to take care of them as part of one of the mini matches in Knoxville on February 19th. And as a matter of fact, on February 21st, while the Rock and Roll Express is limping their way over to Asheville for Super Brawl, 2 o'clock in the afternoon in Johnson City, Tennessee at Freedom Hall, we're going to take care of the Stud Stable. What we don't finish off of them in Barberville, we're going to take care of in Freedom Hall on the 21st, 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
How far is Freedom Hall from Asheville?
Freedom Hall is about 65 miles.
Oh, really?
So you know what would be real funny? What would be real funny is if we whipped the Stud Stable so bad that they ran all the way down there to Asheville, jumped in the ring, and the Rock and Roll Express could beat them, because that's the only team that I'd like to see the Rock and Roll Express beat is Fuller, Golden, and Dutch Mantell.
And the wrestling fans that will be in that part of the country on the 21st get a chance, theoretically, to go to a doubleheader.
Theoretically.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, there ain't no seventh-inning stretch in wrestling, so it's probably economically and physically feasible.
Thank you very much. I know you'd concur with that. You feel up to taking a few phone calls?
I'm always up to taking phone calls because, as you know, Jim Ross, I'm always got something to say.
I know you do, and that's why you're here, and that's why you are where you are right now. And darn it, let's go to the telephone to talk to Josh. Josh, in Centerville, you're on Wrestling with Jim Ross and Jim Cornette. How are you, Josh?
I'm fine, thank you. Jim, I have a couple of questions for you.
All right.
Where's the Rapmaster PM News, and why is the Top 10 not on anymore?
PN News. I think Mr. Cornette, is PN News not? Do you think he's wrestling in Puerto Rico or?
That's the last I heard. I have no idea. I think, as a matter of fact, he was in Puerto Rico. He went to the beach. Somebody mistook him for a beach ball and harpooned him.
Oh,
let all the air out of him, and I think he's now on somebody's wall down there.
All right. Well, there you go, Josh. And that's from Jim Cornette. And let's talk to David in Austell. David, you're on AM 750 WSB.
How you doing, Jim?
Good.
How are you, Jim?
Very good.
Jim, I want to say...
Wait, which? Now, differentiate, please.
Okay, this is Ross.
Oh, okay.
Jim, I'd like to say that the Omni card today was a great card.
Good.
High impact.
All right.
WCW did a great job. And I was just wondering, Bill Watts really needs to show Mr. Cornette a lot more respect. A great manager like him doesn't come along every day.
Well, I agree with that. He's a tremendous manager.
Yeah, well, see, as a matter of fact, somebody told me before I went to center stage, somebody said, you should show Bill Watts a little respect. And that's what I did. I showed him as little respect as I could. You know, it may surprise a lot of people, but there's a lot of people in professional wrestling that I don't get along with personally. And Bill Watts is one of them, and there's been so many others, I mean, so many names running through my head that have come through WCW and other places that it's hard for me to start with just anybody. But as you saw last night, they seem to be taken aback by some of the remarks I made. There was a little censorship going on by the Thought Police, but that just goes to show that everybody in WCW and most people around the country are afraid of what Jim Cornette's got to say.
Let's talk to Charles in Madonna. Charles, quickly before we have to go to the news.
Yes, I just wanted to ask Jim Cornette, Jim Ross, I'm sorry, the top 10 contenders, for the world belt.
Right.
Where does Ron Simmons stand in it?
You know, that was another question I should have answered for the young man also. I don't really know why the top 10 has disappeared. I've always been an advocate of the top 10 in WCW. I think, it's no different in baseball or basketball or any of the other polls. I don't know why wrestling can't have a top 10 poll on a more regular basis. I would guess that Ron Simmons is somewhere in the top 5 or 6 guys. That would be my guess. And one thing I know for sure is we've got to take a break. We're going to be back with Jim Cornette. Bear with us through the news, Mr. Cornette, up in your palatial estate. We'll have more with you and Jim Cornette on AM 750 WSB.
All right.
Now, more with America's leading wrestling broadcaster. It's Wrestling with Jim Ross. You can talk with Jim Ross and his guests by calling 872-0750. Now, here's Jim Ross.
Thanks very much and welcome back, everyone. Jim Cornette, our guest tonight, live here on AM 750 WSB. We'll be back with him in just a moment or two. Don't forget to tune in this Saturday morning, 9:05 Eastern Time. Start your wrestling weekend off with Tony Schiavone and Larry Zbyszko. They'll be joined by Teddy Long and Missy Hyatt, the Power Hour, this Saturday morning, 9:05 Eastern Time. And then, of course, at 6:05 will be WCW Saturday Night this week. That show, matter of fact, will be taped tomorrow night at Center Stage. We'll be talking more about the Center Stage taping tomorrow night a little bit later here in this half hour. But this Saturday on WCW Saturday Night, it's a 1-hour broadcast. You can bet it will be really directed and all guns pointed towards Super Brawl, which is only a couple of weeks away as we speak. So, and then next Sunday on the TBS, on the main event, the television title tournament will start, and we are scheduled to have Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff against Too Cold Scorpio, plus Masa Chono's NWA title loss to the Great Muta. That and much more 1 week from tonight on the main event. And, of course, Tony Schiavone and Jesse the Body Ventura are on Worldwide Wrestling this weekend. Their featured match is a United States heavyweight title matchup. Dustin Rhodes defends against Paul Orndorff. And their television title tournament bracket starts with Eric Watts against Johnny Gunn. And much more on that broadcast. So I hope you'll tune in to Worldwide wherever you may be. We are here with Jim Cornette tonight, and as you mentioned, Jim, you guys seem to really be pointing toward the weekend, that weekend in February, the 19th, and then the 20th and 21st. Certainly sounds like a kind of a crossroads for both teams, quite frankly.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and you know something, that's something that comes up quite frequently in Smoky Mountain Wrestling, because one thing I do want to mention is, brother, we like it tough. We like it rough. You know, Jim Cornette, Bobby Eaton, Stan Lane, and now Tom Pritchard, we've always liked stuff like that. Last night in Morristown, Tennessee, we did such a good job of beating up their hometown boy, Tim Horner. The whole back row came at us with their chairs in their hands, and they weren't wanting to pull us up a seat, if you know what I'm saying. And we got out of that situation, but we love stuff like that, and that's what Smoky Mountain Wrestling is like. It's rough, and it's tough, and it's to the point, and that's why I resented the Rock and Roll Express being paraded around like a bunch of superstars when we had just beaten them, and they're losers, and that's all they've ever been.
What would you say to those that would say perhaps you're jealous?
No, I wouldn't say I'm jealous, because to be jealous of somebody, well, you ought to know, Jim, but geez, you wrote the book on jealousy because so many people have so many things that you don't. But to be jealous, you have to envy somebody. You have to want something that they've got. The only thing that they've got that we don't have could probably be cured by a good dose of penicillin, and we don't want that.
All right, well, no, we sure don't. We don't want that at all. Let's go back to telephones and get on with it here. James in Griffin, you're on Wrestling with Jim Ross and our guest, Jim Cornette, tonight.
Oh, hey, great. How you doing, Mr. Ross?
Good.
Mr. Cornette. First thing, I've been to show out in Griffin, and they had on the card Tommy Rich, and they had Junkyard Dog, and they had a lot of good talent in there. And I just wonder if you guys knew of heard of anything about going on out in that area, because he had on a real good card and everything went real good. And I just want to know if you guys know of any action out that way.
No, not really. I'm not real familiar. How about you, Mr. Cornette?
Griffin, Georgia. I have not been there in many years, and actually have not thought about going back that way.
I thought you might have those sentiments. Let's talk to Steve in Cartersville. Steve, you're on AM 750 WSB with Jim Ross and Jim Cornette. Thanks for holding.
Yes, Mr. Ross. I'd like to ask you two questions real quick. Number one, has WCW been talking to Hulk Hogan, the cousin to WCW? And the second question is, who do you think will win the TV tournament?
Well, I don't know that WCW has had any conversations with Hulk Hogan. It's been reported that he was sighted in a restaurant that happens to be at the CNN Center, which just happens to be where WCW's offices are. I don't know if they've had any direct contact with him or not, Steve. And as far as the TV title is concerned, I think that you got to go with a veteran in that situation. The one division is awfully got some young pups in it. As I'm looking at my notes here, I believe the winner will come out of the Wrestling 2 conference. I'm looking at an Orndorff, a Cactus Jack, or maybe a Chris Benoit. Jim, you've seen Chris Benoit in action. You've got to be impressed with some of his abilities.
Yeah, I think he's a tremendous athlete, and what's more, you look at that stone-cold face on him when he's in the ring. He never smiles. He never cracks that expression, and that, to me, indicates that he likes what he does, but he goes about it in a real cruel kind of way, and I can admire that in a person.
Let's talk to Travis in McDonough. Travis, you're on AM 750 WSB with Jim Ross and Jim Cornette.
How you doing, Jim?
Good.
How about you, Mr. Cornette?
Even better.
Well,
I've always got to be better than Ross.
I've been thinking about this, and it's just something that kind of popped in. How do you, Mr. Cornette, feel about Bobby Eaton being managed by Paulie Dangerously?
Well, since he's not anymore, I don't really mind it. No, I saw that after we left, and it was an amicable parting of the ways with Bobby Eaton, Stan Lane, and myself, and for reasons that we've gone over 20 million times, and I'm sure, does this program get to St. Louis, by the way? Can I say hello to my good friend, Fathead Jim Hurd, out there in St. Louis? Okay, thank you. For reasons we've gone over.
It does go to St. Louis, actually.
We broke up, but it was not an unfriendly parting, and we knew that at some point we'd get back together, and in the meantime, Bobby Eaton got the opportunity to team up with Arn Anderson, a tremendous wrestler, one of the best in the business. To do that, he had to be managed by Paulie Dangerously. So you take the bad with the good. But Paulie basically kept his mouth shut and attended to his details and let Bobby and Arn do the wrestling. If he hadn't, he probably got punched in the mouth. So, but that situation was short-lived, and now Bobby Eaton's back in the fold where I think he has always rightfully belonged.
Let's talk to Greg in New York City. Greg, you're on AM 750 WSB in Atlanta with Jim Ross and Jim Cornette. I thank you for holding.
Yeah, good evening, Jim. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, this is for Jim Ross. I wanted a couple of questions. First off, I'm calling from the city, New York City. Mm-hmm. And I had heard there's a possibility you'll be up at the Gulf Forum, a.k.a. the Paramount, sometime in April?
The tentative, I think, you got a cold?
Yeah.
The tentative date is Wednesday, April 14th at the Paramount in Madison Square Garden.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
No, because I know you've had problems with Vinny Jr. up here. You know how he runs the buildings, more or less.
Well, I think you're referring to is what WCW's been unable to get into to Madison Square
Garden.
Well,
you know how McMahon's been doing it. Yeah, I mean, now look at him with the Meadowlands. I mean, since you guys are out, Vinny's back in, and he's been drawing pretty decent crowds.
Well, that's bottom line.
I know, I'm just saying. But, no, I wasn't sure if that was true or not. I mean, because, we haven't seen you guys up here in a while.
I think it's that's the game plan.
Oh, and Jim, I also want to ask you, excuse me, with the world title at Super Brawl, Ricky Steamboat and Shane Douglas, are they going to fight Pillman and Austin or what?
No, they're not going to. They're not going to compete. The world tag title is not going to be on the line there. And Jim Cornette, I'd like to get your opinion on this. This is quite an unusual situation. The unified world tag title, the champions Steamboat and Douglas are not going to defend the titles at Super Brawl against what everybody thought would be the number one contenders, Flying Brian Pillman and Stunning Steve Austin. You know all the competitors very, very well. You're certainly have managed against some of them and a student of the game. It's kind of unusual that match would not take place, but I understand that the champions were ready. What do you think? Can the promoters slow negotiation that far down to where a match couldn't get signed?
Well, I think the problem may be in that Steamboat and Douglas, they've had their problems with Pillman and Austin. Maybe they're backpedaling a little bit. Maybe they're throwing a little paper trail in the way. And maybe they're wanting Pillman and Austin to face some more competition first, theoretically to prove themselves, but actually just to get worn down a little more so it's easier for Steamboat and Douglas to handle them. That would just be my opinion. If it was my team and I was handling them, that's what I'd try to do.
Greg, we thank you for your call, and have a little herbal tea, a few Halls lozenges, and I think you'll be all right. And thanks for listening. Let's talk to Summer in Greenville, Tennessee. Summer has a question for Jim Cornette.
No, I have a question for you.
Oh, for me?
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, just
wrong Jim.
Slap me right in the face.
Okay, I go to school, and there's a lot of my friends that say wrestling is fake. Is that true?
Nope, it's not true at all, Summer. Jim, how many times have you been asked that question?
Let me tell you. Well, let me just say this. People, they look at on some programs on television and they see clowns and they see people dressed up in goofy outfits, and they think, well, this is Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey. But that's one thing that I admire about what WCW has done, and that's also why I joined Smoky Mountain Wrestling, because we're trying to get back to athleticism. We're trying to get back a little credibility. We're trying to get back to getting down and taking what you want instead of it being given to you. And that's the difference in some wrestling organizations. So until you've seen them all, you can't make an adequate judgment.
I think that's right. You really can't. You can't lump it all together. And unfortunately, a lot of casual wrestling fans and a lot of people say, "Well, wrestling is wrestling," and they said the same. You can't say the same thing about football. Even it's like because the USFL went broke. The World Football League has lost money. There's one big league of football. That's the National Football League, and you can't compare. Well, if the NFL will work, everything else will work, and that's not the case.
Well, for Summer up there in Greenville, Tennessee, and everybody else in East Tennessee, check out Smoky Mountain Wrestling on WCYB out of Bristol Sunday mornings at 11 o'clock. And, brother, you'll see more hard hits than you'll see in a month of football.
Have you got a book out or anything, or you want to plug anything else?
Well, as a matter of fact, I'm writing a book, but I don't want to get into that at this time because I've still got to clear it through my legal department.
There you go. Let's talk to Tracy in Union City. Tracy, you're on AM 750 WSB with Jim Ross and Jim Cornette. Go ahead.
Good evening. How are y'all?
Good.
Well, Jim, I have a comment and two questions. The comment is I went to the Omni tonight, and it was the worst.
It was empty.
It was awful.
It was empty if you went tonight. It was at 3 o'clock. How about this afternoon, though?
Well, I went this afternoon. Well, anyway, it was this.
I'm only joking.
Okay, the question is for Jim Ross. When is the next Clash of the Champions?
It's going to be in June.
June, okay.
June.
This question goes for Jim Cornette. Does he see in the future of the Midnight Express ever getting back together, and what will happen to Tom Pritchard if that happens?
Well, you see, in effect, they already are back together, but now that the situation has changed somewhat, we established the Heavenly Bodies. We've been ruling the roost up here for quite some time. Beautiful Bobby has returned, and now it's a unit. As a matter of fact, it's the Heavenly Bodies Incorporated, which basically means that since we do hold the tag team titles, any two of the three members of the corporation can at any time defend the tag team titles. So anytime you go to see the Heavenly Bodies, one night you're going to see Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane, the next night Stan Lane and Tom Pritchard, the next night Bobby Eaton and Tom Pritchard, and that's to keep our opponents off balance because they never know what's coming next and they don't know how to prepare.
And think of how confused they would be if Dennis Condrey showed up. It'd be amazing.
Not as confused as I'd be.
And we'll have more of Jim Cornette in a few moments and more of your telephone calls on Wrestling with Jim Ross.
This is the Stinger here for Jim Ross on AM 750 WSB. Give him a call and talk to him right now on 872-0750 or 1-800-WSB-TALK. Call now.
Welcome back, everyone, to the program. A few more minutes here with Jim Cornette. Jim, the Super Brawl event coming up on Sunday, February 21st, certainly has some interesting matchups, and I'd like to get your opinion on some of them. You and I had the opportunity to work several major broadcasts, not only on the live on TBS, but also some pay-per-views. The match was Sting and Big Van Vader with the strap stipulation. Sting will be no more than 10 feet away from Vader at any one given time. And I really think that puts him at a big disadvantage. I think that he made a mistake in just accepting Vader's challenge. I know it's great to be brave, and the guy's got character and courage, but a strap match with a 450-pounder, knowing that the object of the game is to drag him to all four corners, is going to be probably the biggest test Sting has ever had.
Yeah, well, there's a thin line between bravery and stupidity. That's like those guys you see on the rodeo on TV where they get strapped up to a 1,000-pound bull and it shakes all their innards loose and their kidneys come out their ears. And that's exactly what's going to happen to Sting. And besides the fact that he's going to have to drag this quarter-ton man around the ring, I don't think Sting has ever had a strap match, and it seems to be Vader's specialty. So that, to me, that indicates that Sting, I think all that paint, the chemicals have worn through his skin and gone to his brain.
Well, that is going to be a great challenge. Another matchup will be Barry Windham challenging the Great Muta for the NWA title. I spoke earlier of Nature Boy Ric Flair. A lot of speculation. I've talked about it very candidly on our hotline on Saturdays up until midnight on Saturday nights. But the latest report on that is that Flair has not received his contractual release from the WWF. Therefore, he obviously has not signed a contract with WCW. And so his future, even though it looks as if he will be coming to WCW, is not a lock, as many thought in the last couple of weeks. But the reason I bring that up is that the NWA title, Flair has been associated with that title, Jim, for for virtually his entire career. But Barry Windham has too, and Barry Windham's always been the bridesmaid. He's always been close, but no cigar. You think this time it could be different for him?
Well, Windham always has been the challenger, but in this case, he's facing a different type of champion. Now, Muta's quick, no doubt about it, and he's a weirdo. Let's put it honest. He's a weirdo. Barry Windham on American turf, that's his specialty, American-style wrestling. I think he would have the edge, and as far as Ric Flair's contractual release or whatever the case may be, I think the problem is all these corporations getting involved. They don't get to the meat of the matter, and that is where an athlete wants to compete. He ought to be able to compete.
I think so. I think you should be able to make a living or compete wherever you want. But unfortunately, that's not an issue that they've asked me about recently. And another matchup just announced this weekend, Dustin Rhodes, a new U.S. champion. And by the way, we're going to have Ravishing Rick Rude here on our program next Sunday, the former champion. So Rude will be with us here on the program next week. But his predecessor, Dustin Rhodes, will meet Ron Simmons, two fan favorites. Simmons is really hungry, and Dustin Rhodes, I think he's still wide-eyed and innocent. I still don't think he really realizes, almost like Shazam, I'm the U.S. champion. This is a young kid, and all of a sudden, boom, he's got the second most prestigious belt in WCW.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, if he doesn't watch out, he's going to say, Shazam, I'm holding all my front teeth in the palm of my hand, because Simmons, to me, doesn't look like he's going to play any games. He's a guy from the street. He's a guy that likes to fight, and we'll see how well that the American Dream taught his son how to fight out there in Austin, Texas.
Let's talk to someone from Knoxville that's on the line. John in Knoxville, you're on AM 750 WSB. Down here in Atlanta with Jim Ross and Jim Cornette. I thank you very much for holding, John.
Thank you. It's nice to see that you added some class to your show tonight, Jim, with Mr. Cornette. Mr. Cornette, I was in Morristown last night, and it was one of the best cards I've ever witnessed. And my favorite part's when you handcuffed Tim Horner to the top rope and hung him upside down in the corner and kept on hitting him with your tennis racket, and you laid out the Rock and Roll Express, too. That was great. My question is to you, Mr. Cornette, is why don't you let beautiful Bobby go after the Dirty White Boy for the Smoky Mountain Heavyweight Championship?
Well, you see, the problem is the Dirty White Boy is a real good friend of ours, and we don't want to destroy any friendships over this thing. That's the same kind of problem we're having with the Stud Stable, is that they wanted to come after the belts. They thought that we stood in their way, and so they overstepped their boundaries. Now we're having to slap the taste out of their mouths. But the Dirty White Boy, and of course his great manager, the legendary Ron Wright, the greatest wrestler ever to appear in East Tennessee, they're good friends of ours, and as long as White Boy's in that position, we don't want to go after the singles titles. We're tag team specialists, and that's what we're going to stick with. And now we got the greatest tag team unit of all time.
All right, John, thanks very much for your call. Let's get to down here to Craig in London, Ontario. Craig, we're going to get you on.
Now
here.
you're making these up now, Jim. Next call will be from Brussels, Belgium. How far does this station go?
Well, it's 50,000, 38 states. And Craig, you're on the air.
How you doing tonight, Mr. Ross?
Good, thanks.
Okay, I'm glad to see you got somebody of real class on your show tonight, Mr. Cornette. Great performance last night, Mr. Cornette, on WCW Saturday night. That was great. I hadn't seen. It's great to see some decent wrestling for a change and seeing some real tag teams in action. Because right now the tag team situation in WCW is a joke. I hate to say it, but it is.
Well, I'm not going to interrupt you. You're doing fine. Keep going.
Exactly. Like, I mean, like you got a great wrestler in Ricky Steamboat, and a guy that you know well enough there, Mr. Cornette, considering you were stupid enough at one time in your career to even manage that guy. Shane
now,
Douglas.
wait. Now, I got to take issue with that. I managed him straight into Excedrin headache number 1422.
Beautiful.
That was all part of the plan.
Beautiful. That was beautiful. That's about the last time there was a great Clash of the Champions card on when you laid out Shane Douglas with that tennis racket. That was great. The only thing is it would have been better at that time, Mr. Cornette, if you'd taken his skateboard and beat him over the head with it. That would have been even better.
All right, Craig. Is still that decaf is not. It's not been a popular thing up in London, Ontario. Well, Jim, listen, we're just about out of time. I do want to thank you for spending time with us here tonight on the program. I hope this is not the last time we get to do this program together, and we certainly will give you plenty of opportunity to talk about Smoky Mountain Wrestling and the things that are going to be going on in your life.
Well, I want to say one more thing before we go. I will do this program again because if there's one thing I recognize being the most talented person in the world, it's talent. And everybody's got to say that Jim Ross, regardless of whether people poke you in the stomach and ask you if you're done sometimes or not, you're the greatest wrestling announcer on the face of the planet today.
I thank you very much, my friend, Jim Cornette. He's the number one in the book, the best manager in wrestling, no doubt about it. And you're the best radio audience in the country. We thank you very much for being with us. The phone calls are overwhelming tonight. My thanks to our producer, Daryl Harris. I'm Jim Ross saying good night, everybody.
Did you put Christmas on a credit card? Don't stress out about that extra holiday spending. SaveWithConrad.com can help you consolidate all of your high interest rate credit cards into one much lower monthly payment. SaveWithConrad.com has helped families just like yours save up to $800 a month. You don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket. And did I mention no payments until March? So don't make saving money a resolution next year. Make it happen today at SaveWithConrad.com. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what AdFreeShows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-Free Shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus, ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that AdFreeShows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today, and hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. AdFreeShows.com.